Hi, welcome to our session today. Really excited to get started. Today we're going to talk about the art of the possible and what we can do with Acquia machine learning to power Acquia DXP. My name is Karen Wood. I'm the Senior Director of Product Marketing here at Acquia, and I'm joined today by Brian Prue. Brian, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, everybody. I'm Brian. I'm Acquia's Director of User Experience and Customer Experience. I'm really excited to be here today to kind of peel back the curtain and show you some of the stuff we're working on.
Yeah, super excited. So I'm going to walk through just a couple of slides to sort of set the stage, and then Brian's going to take you through a tour of, again, the art of the possible, what it looks like with Acquia machine learning powering digital experiences across a lot of different scenarios. So I wanted to start with just why machine learning in the first place, just sort of level set. It's a buzzword, hot topic. Lots of people, get excited about it. But at the end of the day, the reason it is exciting to businesses and to marketers is that it helps increase efficiency and revenue. So you see some stats here on this slide in terms of the type of revenue that machine learning can drive for organizations. And that's really because of two reasons. It can help a marketing team do more with less. So rather than a marketer needing to spend a bunch of time to do segmentation and try to really get at the intelligence within data, machine learning can just do that for them. And then the other way that it drives revenue for companies is to help the segmentation and campaign and actually the engagement with customers be a lot more one-to-one and super relevant. So it's both the do more with less, and also all your campaigns are going to be more impactful things about machine learning that make it really exciting to companies. Now, Acquia's machine learning has three families. So we have predictions, which is sort of the likelihood to buy, likelihood to pay a full price, et cetera, that family. We've got personas, which essentially is clustering. Now, Acquia provides fuzzy clustering, so a person can belong to more than one cluster at a time, giving a greater expansion of segments to draw from when you run campaigns, and also greater accuracy. And then finally, predictions. And these are predictions both for the marketer in terms of actions to take, and you'll see some of this in what Brian's going to walk you through, as well as personalization and recommendations for the consumer in terms of what they might want to buy next, for example. And then with the announcements that we made at Engage at the Innovation Showcase, we have a Machine Learning Studio, which allows data scientists and analysts an easy workbench to build their own models, feed them back into the platform, and just provide greater use across the organization. And then just really quick before I pass it over to Brian, you saw this slide earlier in the presentation I did with Mark Picone in terms of what we're building for Acquia Marketing Cloud and Acquia DXP. I wanted to remind you all, because I think this is a good entry into what Brian's going to talk about, that machine learning sits in the middle of this. So what we're exploring today is, again, a vision demo of what can happen with Marketing Cloud when it's powering experiences through Drupal Cloud and through Marketing Cloud, through the entire Acquia DXP ecosystem. So that's the preamble. I'm going to turn it over to Brian. He's going to walk you through the scenarios. It's super exciting. Again, Brian, over to you.
All righty. Thank you for that awesome introduction, Karen. Excited to kind of walk everybody through what the art of the possible really entails across the future of Acquia's DXP. So you can see here, we're starting on Acquia's Campaign Studio kind of campaigns page. And we're going to walk you through a pair of personas, kind of a life in the day scenario. We have our campaigner, and in a little bit, we'll transition over to Drupal Cloud in the site manager role and show you how machine learning is going to make both of these distinct but related individuals' lives easier as they go about using Acquia's DXP. So we're ready to start a new campaign. It's right in the name. It's primary use case for this particular role. We're going to start by clicking the New Campaign button. You'll see all of this is relatively familiar, especially if you've used Campaign Studio before. We're going to begin by filling out our segment and then identifying a goal that that segment is going to tackle. So we have a bunch of pre-populated segments thanks to our CDP. And for this particular use case, we're going to focus on big spenders. We really have a big summer blowout campaign planned. We want to focus on folks who are going to generate the most amount of revenue from this campaign. From there, we go ahead and select them. We're going to go ahead and select our goal. You can see here we have two options highlighted in purple. This is going to be the theme throughout the rest of the demonstration. This is indicating the machine learning has a recommendation for you, the user. You can see off to the right what the suggestions are. One of the things we've really put emphasis into is not making ML a black box. If folks don't understand why the algorithm is recommending a particular course of action, they're not going to follow it. They're not going to trust that recommendation. So by peeling back the layers of the onion, showing why the machine learning is recommending something, we hope to bolster use and honestly make everything much more useful and usable for our end users. So here you can see I have 4 goals and I can pick any of them. The machine learning is not locking me into a particular course of action. But in this case, the whole point of picking big spenders was to maximize my revenue. I'm going to trust the ML's recommendation. This is the goal I want. So I've gone ahead and selected that. I'm ready to kind of go ahead and proceed with the rest of my campaign. In this particular case, we're going to gloss over a little bit of the campaign creation workflow and not kind of waste your time showing all of that. Not too much has changed there. But for this particular type of campaign, we're going to select a hero product. It's where things are going to begin. I know summer, I think fire pit. I want that barbecue. I want to go make some s'mores. I'm going to go ahead and select that as my hero product. And you can already begin to see as I go through this content selection process, the machine learning is recommending additional content for me to consider as part of this campaign. It knows that that fire pit image I selected in my PIM or my DAM is related to these two. So I'm going to go ahead and follow its recommendations and kind of start building this potential content repository that I'm going to use through the rest of my campaign. Ditto in terms of complementary products. I'm going to focus on my flame pack, my fire pit poker, and mosquito repellent. Get rid of those little nasty little guys. So at this point, I'm going to save and continue, and I'm going to get into the meat of my actual campaign development. So the system is going to go process those pre-selections. It's going to go review my segment and my goal, and show me that it has a recommended template. So I can start from scratch here. I got the blank canvas. I can go ahead and get started and do everything I need to do. Or in terms of time savings, I can use one of these pre-populated templates. I get a little bit of a preview of the type of nodes and the type of journey that will be provided through them. But most importantly, I have an increased revenue goal. I'm probably going to want to follow the ML's recommendation about using an increased revenue campaign template. So I'm going to select that, and it's going to pre-populate as much as it possibly can. In this case, it really is just my segment and what they're doing. So I'm going to go ahead and pick my channel and begin to figure out which channels I would like to send this message out on. I know I want to do the web. It's the point of my online campaign, but I can see the ML is recommending Twitter. This could be for a number of reasons, from it being really correlated with the big spenders. They do a lot of Twitter click-throughs. So I'm going to go ahead and trust that and just carry out the rest of my day. You can now see my channel has been populated. Last real step is kind of this pre-populated step is the personalization. So I'm going to go ahead and click this and identify which pieces of content I'm going to want to personalize down the road. So my hero banner makes sense. My Twitter image makes sense, given I chose that channel, and that item carousel, given I selected those next best product recommendations. I'm going to want to tweak all of that in the future. So I've kind of turned these flags on and I've gotten ready to go about the rest of my campaign creation. However, as part of this, you can see I have a new audience suggestion. I've given the system enough information at this point that it's able to start helping me branch out to consider alternatives I might have missed on my own. I can dig into more information, but at this point, the ML hasn't led me astray. So I'm just going to dive right in and see what it's recommending. In this case, coupon lovers is apparently a complementary segment to my big spenders. They're going to want the same channels, web and Twitter. That's why this is recommended. And for coupon lovers, a dynamic discount is probably the best route of personalization that I could pursue. So this all makes sense to me. It jives. I'm going to go ahead and accept that suggestion. And just like that, it has been added to my campaign as content that I can pursue. So at this point, I'm going to go ahead and publish. I'm going to see that my campaign is ready to go. And I'm going to go about the rest of my day as a campaigner, the rest of my marketing activities. I'm going to go do that personalization and build things out as I had planned. However, in Drupal Cloud, completely unrelated persona, but another part of our DXP, as the campaign manager, the site manager, I'm going to go ahead and track this new notification I've received. So they are not tracking what the campaigner is doing directly, different parts of the business organization. However, they have been notified that a new campaign is going to launch soon. Probably going to want to address this and see what's coming down the pipeline. So I'll click my note. It's going to bring me to my stack metrics page. I'm going to see the statistics about what's going on. And I will see that in a couple of days, I'm going to pass what my server capacity is set up to handle. Now on Acquia Cloud Next, that's not really a big deal. It will auto scale if it needs to. But this is an important campaign. I got pinged by my boss. I want to make sure that there is 0% chance of uptime, even that 0.001, a little bit too high for my tastes. I'm going to review my ML suggestion to see what I could do about this. It's only for 3 days, and it's a relatively minor server capacity increase. I can commit to this. I'm just going to go ahead and get it ahead of it. I'm going to preempt any potential downtime or outage and then go about the rest of my day. So I'm going to pop on back to my homepage now that that problem's been resolved, and time is going to pass. I now have another notification following up on that action I took earlier in the system, and I can see that the majority of my traffic is legitimate, not bogus, and I feel pretty good about myself. I preempted any potential problems. My campaigner and my marketing org is going to be happy. That means I'm going to be happy. So we can go ahead and close this out and head on back to my marketing cloud world. And they also have a notification. So the machine learning is continuously monitoring their campaign and their performance. So one of the things they're seeing is that, thanks to Acquia Cloud's connection, geoactivity as a French localization may be worthwhile. Okay, I hadn't really considered that. Let me see what the ML is recommending. Come down here, you can see that, yes, thank you, handy dandy map, this is where France is. And as the notification said, I should be able to localize my campaign to French to bolster my ROI. Given that was the whole goal in the first place, let's go ahead and update my campaign. I can see there's a handful of recommendations. This is the one I actually want to pursue at this moment. I don't want to mess with an A/B campaign. Things are already released and going well. I'm going to go ahead and adjust things. I have all this supporting evidence that's been parsed, and this is what's driving the algorithm to make its new content model localization. Turns out in France, you're not allowed to have an open flame anymore. We actually discovered this when doing research for what our potential use case would be. So it's a pretty easy content swap for my campaigner in order to localize this to a more French familiar audience. They're going to go with a grill rather than that open flame fire pit, which is now prohibited. So I'm going to trust that my localization exists. I'm going to accept this recommendation, and it's going to bring me back to that campaign I've created. I see this handy dandy machine learning recommendation showing me the 3 bits of content that I really need to address. I'm going to trust that it hasn't led me astray yet. So I'm going to select my background image, edit that element. I could pick this grill, but I could also pick this really handy dandy patio. This looks cool to me, so I'm going to go ahead and pick that as my new background image. Not ready for the chilly weather. I need to edit this. One thing machine learning is very good at is doing translation automatically for me. Well, my French is a little rusty. I'm going to go ahead and trust the machine knows what it's talking about and accept that recommendation. And finally, I need to update my button as well. I will select that, edit that element. And again, just like the main content, I'm going to update my button to be focused on a grill as opposed to shopping a fire pit. And just like that, I've quickly localized this campaign to be more salient to my French-speaking audience and the laws of their region so that I don't accidentally get anybody in trouble. I'm going to go ahead and click done, lock this in, and you can see that it's been updated. Now, time is also going to pass, and I want to see how my campaign is done based on these changes. So I'm going to pop into here and look at my French version, and I will have this really excellent analytics chart showing me the trend of behavior, and honestly, the most important bit, what I did and what the reaction was. So here, I can see that I received a notification right off the bat when I was creating my campaign. We added Twitter as a channel, and I saw as a result a revenue shift increase. Correlation isn't causation, but it's really helpful for me to see where the machine gave me a recommendation and if it actually paid out in the end to, again, bolster that trust that we talked about at the very beginning. Similarly, I can click over here and see increased server capacity, prevented any sort of downtime. And then most importantly, this was that big dip that occurred that I was worried about. I'm assuming this is the French localization, and lo and behold, it is. And just like that, now I have this kind of beginning cause and effect relationship. And as the campaigner, I now understand what the machine learning recommended, why, and what impact it had at the end of the day. So we're really hoping this kind of end-to-end bolstering of the overall experience makes it much more easier to do those day-to-day tasks and to show the impact of them up, down, and laterally throughout the organization. All right, that's our demo. Back to you, Karen.
Brian, thank you so much. That was awesome. So excited to be able to share that with you today. Brian, thanks for being here and walking us through that. Yeah, thanks again for joining us. Take care.